everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. Before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Today's video, we're going to be using some of the new colors of Teckwrap Puff. They have a bunch of really pretty pastel colors and we're going to use their pastel pink. And I think this is such a fun product. And we're going to make this design. I'm going to show you how to choose your font, how to set it up, and all of that, and then we're going to cut this out. Now, don't forget, anytime you shop with Teckwrap, to use code Corinne10. That's going to save you 5% anytime you shop with them. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll link everything that we use for this video down below. We're starting with text, and I'm going to use all capitals for this, and I'm going to just spell out the word nope. And then what I want to do is change the font. So I go up to the upper left-hand side here under font, and I click on that, and it brings up my font list. And then I have in my system fonts, I know what font I want to use. I want to use my college font. So I'm going to select that font right here. I'm going to make it bigger so you can kind of see the design. Now, if I don't like that one, that's okay. I can totally go back in and see what else I have because I have different styles of this font. And I want to use this college combined font instead because I want it to have this little outline around it. I think that's so stinking cute. Now, do we want to do anything to this? Maybe. So let's play around with some things. I want to play around with warp a little bit because I want to see kind of what it will look like if I use any of these warp options. But what's kind of annoying is you have to right now click off of the option in order to see what it does because it's just a little bit glitchy right now. But you'll notice that it didn't change at all. So I don't know if we're going to use warp, but I just kind of wanted to play around with it and just see if any of these kind of did what I wanted it to do, but I don't think so. I think I kind of like it better the way I had it where it was just flat, but let's just play around with these for just a minute and see if anything works. Nothing really is what I want it to be, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Now I could always curve it a little bit if I wanted to. Maybe something like this might work a little bit better, but I don't think so. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. But because I'm using a Puff HTV, I want to move the letters a little bit further apart than what they are here. So I'm going to use my letter spacing and I'm going to use the up arrow and you'll see that it spreads the letters out a little bit more. So I want to just use them so that they're just a little bit more spread out so that it doesn't turn into like a big blob of letters. Now the outline may get a little bit blobby, but you'll still be able to see it, so it'll be fine. And then I want to add some more text and I want to add not today. But with this one, I want to use the same font, but I don't want to use the one that has the outline. So I can just go back into my fonts and I can just choose the filled one. Or you can always choose just the regular college font. What you're going to notice is those are pretty similar. Now, again, these right here are way too close together. So I'm going to, again, letter space them out a bit. Because, again, if I leave them that close, it's going to look really bad and blobby once I actually make it. Now, I am going to size this a bit bigger. I don't want it to be huge. I don't want it to be as big as the Nope. But I do want it to be pretty big. All right, I like that. I think that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is select the entire design and I'm just going to align it, and I want to align it center horizontally. And I do that just so I can get a look at it, see if I like it. This is not going to actually be, how it's, perfectly laid out right now, or sized, I should say. This will be how it's laid out, but it's not how it's sized. So I like it. I think it looks pretty good. I think it's a little big at almost 11 inches. So for the design like this, I think I also want to move this down a little bit just so that it gives it a little more space. And then again, I'm just going to double check my alignment just in case I moved it at all. And now I'm going to size it down. So I'm going to size it down, and I'm putting this on a large sweatshirt. So I can usually go about 9.6. I can even sometimes go a little bit bigger, into almost 10 inches on a sweatshirt, just because those fit a little more baggy. So you have a little more space. This will be on an adult large. Now I am using Teckwrap Puff for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this and I'm going to flip it horizontal because it is an HTV product, meaning that we need to mirror this image. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is save my design. I'm going to just call it Nope, Not Today, and simply click Save. Once that's done, we can hit make it, and you'll see that it's going to bring up our mat where it's going to show us how it's going to cut this out. Now, I did forget to attach these, so you'll notice that my knot today isn't lined up. You can leave it like that if you want to, but know that you'll have to line it up on your shirt. If you don't want to do that, make sure you select both parts of your design and attach them. Then when you click make, it'll actually space them the way you had it, and you won't have to line them up when you go to put them on your shirt. We're using Teckwrap Puff, and one thing I want you to note is that these rolls are quite a bit shorter. They're only about 10 inches. So in order to combat that my design is a little bit wider, I just cut my roll so that I could make it a little bit wider than 10 inches. But you do what works for you. I think I cut mine to be about 11 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this lined up on my mat and lay this down. Now, they say to cut this on the holographic vinyl setting. I did do a test cut, and that setting worked really well for my machine, but I would recommend doing test cuts anytime you start with a new material. And make sure that you have mirrored your design. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, weed it, and then I'm going to show you how to press it. We're going to be putting this on a Gildan soft style shirt. I will check what it's made of. I believe this one's 100% cotton. Yes, 100% cotton in this kind of like fun, I don't know, peacock color. I don't know the name of the actual color, but if I find it, I'll link it below for you where I got it from. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line up my design where I want it to go. So I want to put this about 3 fingers down from our collar. And then I'm going to center the nope first. And you notice that this is not super sticky. That's okay. We're just going to be really careful when we move it over into the press. So I like to use my hands to kind of find center. You do what works for you. I think this side needs to come up just a smidge. And I think that looks pretty darn centered to me. So then I want to use the not today part, and that's going to go under here. Now I cut them separately so that I didn't waste a lot of the HTV, but you do what works for you. I'm just put a little crease in that just so I can get that centered on the nope. And that looks pretty good. Now this one is a little tough, like I said, to keep where you want it. So what I recommend having is some heat tape. This is a great product to use if you have HTV that's not really sticky, or you're using sublimation or even printable HTV, because this is going to actually help hold down your design without damaging it in any way. Now I don't put a lot of tape on them. I'm just going to put enough to hold it in place, and then I just want to make sure the knot today looks pretty straight, pretty even. And I'm just going to put 2 little pieces of tape on the ends of that. Now this is pressed at 310 degrees for 15 seconds. And we're going to be using a firm pressure. So I'm going to take you guys over to the press. We'll get it pressed and see how well it puffs. We are ready to press this. So we've got this set to 310 degrees for 15 seconds with firm pressure. I'm going to go ahead and press this, and we're going to hope that it puffs really, really well. We're ready to reveal. It's got the brainy texture that I absolutely cannot stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little testy test, because I know a lot of other Puff HTV needs a second press without the carrier sheet. So I feel like the worst thing that happens is it messes up the puff. But at the moment it looks like a brain, and I can't stand that. That's not how puff is supposed to look. It's supposed to be really smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and press this again. So everybody pray for me. We'll see what happens. Like I said, the worst that happens is it doesn't puff and it looks bad, but it can't look any worse than the brain to me, so we're going to go for it. Now, this is one thing that I like to leave in videos, is if something goes wrong, because nobody's perfect. Sometimes the directions that are given are not always great, and sometimes you just got to try something to see if it fixes the issue. It still looks pretty brainy, which I just don't love. You can kind of see how it looks kind of like squishy almost, but I call it brains. It's not fabulous. I've never gotten the Teckwrap puff to come out perfectly smooth, but this is better now that I've puffed it a second time. So I would say go ahead and use a second press and it can help. But I'm going to go ahead and let this cool off and then show you what it looks like. I went back and watched a previous video I did with the Teckwrap Puff, and 305 was what I used for that one, and it worked a little bit better. But I still think this came out pretty cute, even with the brainy texture, and the colors that they offer are fantastic. Now, like I said, I would do some tests before you really commit to doing a full shirt with the puff, because I think depending on your heat press can depend on the settings, really for any puff. So be sure to do some little tests. You can just cut little corners off and press them onto some scrap fabric or a t-shirt that you messed up. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure so you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And as always, happy crafting.